At first glance, nothing feels unusual. The sea is calm, the sky is clear, and the tanker moves forward with the slow, deliberate confidence of a vessel that has made this journey dozens of times before. But this time, the route ahead is anything but routine. The Strait of Hormuz begins to tighten, not visually at first, but mathematically. The navigational lanes narrow into a controlled corridor where every ship must follow a strict path, leaving no room for improvisation. 2 miles wide, bordered by invisible lines that cannot be crossed without consequence, the tanker is effectively locked into a path it cannot leave. And surrounding that path is not open ocean, but territory, layered, monitored, and controlled. Iranian coastline stretches along the horizon, not distant, but close enough to feel present, watching. Islands rise directly within the corridor, each one positioned like a checkpoint, each one capable of observing every movement. Other ships, dozens of them, have chosen not to enter at all. They sit anchored far away, engines silent, waiting for conditions to change. But this tanker continues forward, committing itself fully to a route that offers no exit. And once inside, turning back is no longer a simple decision. It becomes nearly impossible. The further it moves, the more the environment begins to feel less like open water and more like a controlled passage. And what lies ahead is not just distance, it's exposure. High above the deck, a small, almost unnoticeable device continues to do exactly what it was designed to do. It transmits, quietly, consistently, without interruption. Every few seconds, it sends out a signal containing precise data, location, speed, direction, and cargo. It's a system built for safety, intended to prevent collisions and keep maritime traffic organized. But in this environment, it serves a second purpose, one far more dangerous. It removes uncertainty. Anyone listening can see the tanker as clearly as if they were standing on the bridge. There is no need for guesswork, no need for surveillance aircraft or complex tracking systems. The ship is effectively announcing its presence in real time. Along the coastline, receivers pick up the signal effortlessly. The tanker is not hiding. It cannot hide. On board, the crew begins to hear faint radio chatter, voices speaking in a language they don't fully understand but recognize instantly. The tone isn't casual. It's deliberate, focused. They are being discussed, identified, and tracked. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the chatter stops. The silence that follows is heavier than the voices, because it suggests something has already been decided. The signal continues to broadcast, unchanged, unaware that it has already done its job. And now, whatever is listening is no longer just observing. The first object appears without warning, a dark shape resting low in the water, barely visible against the surface. It doesn't drift like debris, and it doesn't move with the current. It holds position in a way that immediately feels wrong. The lookout calls it out, and for a brief moment, every eye on the bridge focuses on something no one can identify with certainty. The captain considers adjusting course, but the numbers intervene. At this size and speed, the tanker cannot react quickly enough. Stopping requires kilometers of distance, and turning requires space that simply doesn't exist within the narrow lane. The decision is made not out of confidence but necessity. Maintain course. The object passes close by, slipping alongside the hull and disappearing behind them. Relief is immediate but short-lived, because another shape appears, and then another. Some sit just below the surface, anchored and waiting. Others lie completely hidden beneath the water, indistinguishable from the seabed itself. Each one represents a possibility that cannot be confirmed until it's too late. The crew begins to understand that they are not navigating open water, but moving through a field designed to be uncertain. And that uncertainty becomes its own form of pressure, because every second forward increases the chance that something beneath them is not passive. And the most unsettling realization begins to settle in. These devices don't even need to activate to be effective. The radar changes everything. What was once a clear display begins to populate with fast-moving returns, small but unmistakably intentional. They're not drifting, they're converging. At first, there are only a few. Then more appear, each one moving at speeds the tanker cannot match or escape. Within minutes, they are visible to the naked eye, low-profile boats cutting across the water with precision and purpose. They spread out as they approach, surrounding the tanker rather than lining up behind it. One crosses directly ahead, forcing the crew to watch as it passes at a distance that feels far too close for comfort. Another runs parallel along the side, maintaining position with ease. Individuals on board these boats are clearly visible now, observing, recording, documenting. This is not chaotic behavior, it's controlled, measured, and intentional. The radio activates again, this time direct. A warning is issued, instructing the tanker to alter course. The message is clear, even through broken phrasing. The captain responds, referencing legal rights and established maritime rules, but the words feel fragile against the reality unfolding outside. The boats continue to maneuver, unaffected by the response. Their presence alone changes the situation. They are not just nearby, they are in control of the space around the tanker, and the crew begins to understand that this encounter is not random. It's part of a larger system, one that has been practiced, refined, and executed before. Long before this moment, a simulation explored what would happen if a force relied not on size or traditional strength, but on speed, coordination, and unpredictability. In that scenario, smaller, faster units overwhelmed a larger, more advanced fleet using tactics that seemed unconventional at the time. The results were immediate and unexpected. Within minutes, major assets were neutralized in ways that challenged long-standing assumptions about naval dominance. The outcome was controversial, not because it was unrealistic, but because it revealed vulnerabilities that were difficult to accept. While some dismissed the results, others studied them closely. The principles were clear: overwhelm through numbers, close distance rapidly, and operate in environments where larger forces cannot respond effectively. Over time, those ideas evolved into real-world strategies. Training exercises mirrored the scenario, refining coordination and timing. And now, those same tactics are visible in the water surrounding the tanker. The speed, the positioning, the confidence, it all reflects a system that has been tested and improved over time. This is not improvisation, it's execution. And what once existed as a theoretical outcome is now unfolding in a real environment, against a target that has no way to respond in kind. As the boats eventually pull away, the immediate pressure seems to ease, but the environment itself remains unchanged. The coastline runs parallel to the tanker, close enough to observe in detail. Structures appear along the cliffs, some clearly visible, others partially concealed. Roads trace the edges, with occasional movement that suggests activity just out of reach. What appears static at first begins to feel deliberate upon closer observation. These are not random features of the landscape. They are positions, locations chosen for visibility, range, and concealment. From these points, systems can operate without ever exposing themselves directly. Missiles can be launched from areas that are difficult to detect and even harder to reach. Their flight paths are designed to minimize warning time, staying low over the water or approaching from angles that reduce visibility. The tanker continues forward, fully within range of these systems for the entire duration of its transit. There is no moment where it is not exposed, and unlike the boats, these threats do not need to move to be effective. They are already in position, already prepared, and already integrated into the environment. The coastline is no longer just a boundary, it has become an active component of the situation, and every mile traveled keeps the tanker within its reach. Beyond the systems that operate close to the surface, there exists another layer of capability, one that approaches from a completely different direction. These are not slow or low-profile threats. They are fast, direct, and designed to minimize reaction time to almost nothing. Once launched, they follow a trajectory that takes them high above the visible environment before returning at extreme speed. Detection comes late, often leaving only seconds to register what is happening. There is no practical response available to a vessel like this. No defensive systems capable of intercepting or diverting the outcome. The impact itself is only part of the equation. The real effect comes from what follows. A vessel of this size, carrying massive quantities of cargo, becomes something far more significant if damaged in the wrong location. It transforms from a moving object into an obstruction, one that cannot be easily cleared or bypassed. In a corridor this narrow, that outcome would halt movement entirely. The implications extend far beyond a single ship, and that is precisely why the threat exists in the first place. It doesn't need to be used often. Its presence alone reshapes decisions, calculations, and expectations. And for those on board, the awareness of that possibility becomes impossible to ignore. As the tanker finally clears the most restrictive part of the route, nothing dramatic has occurred. No impact, no detonation, no direct engagement. The ship remains intact, the crew unharmed, and the cargo secure. But the outcome is not as simple as it appears, because the true effect of the journey is not physical, it's financial. Every element encountered along the way contributes to a calculation that begins long before the ship enters the corridor and continues long after it leaves. Risk assessments change. Insurance costs increase. Operational decisions are reevaluated. What was once considered a routine passage becomes a high-stakes decision point. The presence of mines, fast-moving boats, coastal systems, and aerial surveillance creates a layered environment where uncertainty carries a measurable cost, and that cost influences behavior more effectively than direct force. Ships delay departures, reroute entirely, or consider alternatives that were previously unnecessary. The system functions not by stopping movement, but by making movement more expensive, more complicated, and less predictable. Over time, that pressure reshapes patterns on a larger scale, and that is where its true impact lies, because control is not always established through direct action. Sometimes it is established through influence, subtle, persistent, and calculated.